Hello everyone, this is episode 6 and in my list of trying to figure out some of the videos that I wanted to do, I thought actually every 5th or 6th video what I might do is I might do my story I suppose and just talk about an element of my life that's kind of been affected or a certain topic but how that relates to me. I know I give examples of that in my other videos but yeah, I just thought we'd see how it goes. When I was doing my little list, the first thing I kind of wrote about, I suppose, was sexuality. And I think, as it was first on my list, that might as well be the first video that I do. I think one of the things that kind of bugs me about sexuality is this kind of idea that we've got to label things, and I'm not too much of a fan of that. But I suppose if I had to, when people ask me about stuff, I suppose my typical response is that I'm bisexual. But I think the term that kind of I identified with more than ever, I suppose, was when I was doing my training. Somebody came in to talk about sexuality and the term pansexual came up, which was all about kind of identifying somebody just because of who they are, not, their gender doesn't even come into question. And I suppose that kind of made sense to me, when I was younger and I used to kind of mess around with people. It never really occurred to me that they were boy or girl. It just made sense until I got into my teenage years and it started to become an issue. I think my sexuality has been a massive part of my kind of mental health issues, especially in my early 20s, because I grew up in church and, a good church, a lovely church, but also obviously the message, I suppose, within religion is that to be gay is wrong. And I suppose I kind of learned that in my early teens, that, that became part of my being, that who I was wrong. And and I'd go to church and I'd feel guilty and I have a relationship with God and things like that, and it just became a bit incredibly messy. And my last 4 relationships have been girl boy girl boy, but the first boy relationship that I went into ended because I just was not ready to kind of come out as anything other than straight. So it got in the way of things, and then things became more and more messy from there. And I suppose now I do kind of think, pansexual, but it's just I prefer not to label it. I'm much happier now. I'm far more content. I found somebody that I really care about, and that's the main thing. And hopefully we're setting up life together for a very long time. And it's just about, part of that has been, we've had our issues, and especially early on, and we've been together 12 years now, and especially early on in the relationship, the idea of settling down with a man I wasn't going to do that, and so this whole thing, and learning to be a counsellor as well, part of it was being at peace with who I am. When you're at peace with who you are, then actually all these labels and all this other crap pales into insignificance. And don't get me wrong, I still worry when we're out and about. I still think, oh my God, who's looking at us? But actually what's happened now is I've learned to develop the other voice that kind of promotes who I am, and the person I try to be is far more important. But that's just a little snippet, I suppose, of my story. Yeah, thank you for listening. Take care.